In this video, we're going to look at developing upon a basic ggplot2 command to add more styling and to include maybe more information into the ggplot visualization. So in the last video, we looked at the basic structure of the ggplot command. So remember, there was the first bit which defined what data are going to be used in the plot. The second part of the command defined what visualizations are actually going to be displayed. And the final part of the command defined the look and feel of the plot, the style of the plot. And that produced this scatter plot you can see here on the right. So we're now going to change the first part, defining what data are going to be plotted. We're going to add one more variable, which is the population variable in this wolf_f data frame. And we're going to include that additional variable by allowing the color and shape of these points to depend upon the value of population. So I've added in here some extra lines into the aesthetics of the plot to say that color and shape is going to be given by the population variable. I've also specified the exact color palette I want ggplot2 to use down here in the look and feel of the plot. I'm telling it to use a color brewer palette called set1, which gives a nice contrasting kind of red-blue color. So let's run this plot and let's have a look at what it looks like. So there's the plot. You see it's added in now the additional population variable, and it's added a legend because now it's the color and shape of those points which is changing. We can add more visualizations to this basic plot as well. So one thing we could do would be to add a rug plot onto the axes, which will be giving little dashes every time there's a data point. It gives you a feeling of the concentration of the data along each axis. And so for that, I modify the middle part of the command where I'm specifying the kinds of visualizations. So I've added a line in here, a geom_rug, which specifies a rug plot. Otherwise, everything else in the command is exactly the same. Rather than producing the plot straight away, I'm going to assign this plot to a variable. I'm going to call it P. So the plot is being assigned to the value P. So it will not display this plot straight away. So if I send this command to the console, no plot is produced. And then if I call the variable and send the variable to the console, it'll execute that command. You can see now it's the same plot as before, but it's added these rug plots along the X and the Y axis. So this is quite a handy way of drawing a basic plot. You call it a variable P, and then you can add components to that baseline plot. So let's look at a final addition to this plot. We might want to add, say, a smoother. In this case, I'm going to add a linear regression to the plot by taking the P plot and then adding geom_smooth, which defines a smoother. Let's look at what that is. Here it is. You see it's added two regression lines because we've got two populations being displayed, and the grey shaded regions here are the standard errors around that regression line, giving some idea of the uncertainty. So it looks like there's not much of a relationship for population 1, the red line. Population 2 might have more of a relationship between testosterone and cortisol. We could change the color scale. Rather than to be the same variable population, we might want it to be a continuous variable. So in this case, we're going to use progesterone as the color scale, but keep the shape still as defined by population. So we've added in a fourth variable into the plot here, defining color as progesterone. And we've also altered the color scale to define the color scale to be a continuous color scale now, rather than the discrete red and blue scale that we had before. So this is starting to get quite a busy plot because we've got lots of information in this one plot. Maybe useful for exploring the data, maybe not so good for producing it in a final report. So you can see now it's used a kind of a purple color scale for the progesterone. Light colors are low concentrations, dark colors are high concentrations. The shape of the points is still defining the population. So finally, we might want to tweak a bit more the look and feel of the labels and the text on this axis. So we can do that by altering the theme. So we've been using the theme BW, black and white theme, and I can add to that by defining my own theme. So usually I would go to themes that are on the internet, look at something I quite like the look of, and use that as a template, and then add or modify that how I wanted it. So this is the additional theme information. It looks quite complicated, but it's the same basic elements just repeated many times. So I'm just defining the text to be used in the axis titles, and I'm specifying a few different settings. I'm specifying the font size to be 15, the color to be dark red, the fonts to be bold, and the font family to be Times New Roman. And they're the same points that are used for the axis text, that would be the numbers along the x-axis and the y-axis, the legend title, and also the legend text, just so that it will have a consistent font. I'm changing a little bit the size of the font and the colors. So the axis text will be in dark orange rather than dark red. And all that styling information, rather than putting it into the plot command straight away, I'm defining it, assigning it to a variable I'm calling plot_theme. And so that's going to define that styling, and then to use it on a plot, I just replace the theme_BW I had before with my customized theme, plot_theme. And I can keep reusing that theme for lots of plots if I want to keep that same look and feel. So let's rerun the plot command. Now you can see the new plot starts to use the colors and the fonts that I've defined. So there's a million different ways you can start to tweak and change ggplot commands. You can really make them professional looking visualizations for reports and also data exploration.